Hey, Rob, do you float? Oh, they float. They all float!
So we're doing a commentary on Neverending Story, right?
Oh, yes. And it floats. Never-ending Story floats. You have Never-ending Story in a can? You do? You better let it out. Okay. We better actually talk about this.
What's to talk about?
Langoliers, you know what? I might do that because
Because that one is so awful, I don't think even Stephen King fans can defend it. That movie is just all sorts of bad.
For as much as we make fun of this movie, we really don't like it.
I will say this is one of the better ones, but that's not saying much, because Stephen King films,
Well, you know what it is? The stuff with the kid actors are actually pretty good.
Yeah, the flashbacks were pretty good.
The adult actors are actually pretty bad. That was the shocking part. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but the kid actors actually do.
They actually managed to find a whole bunch of convincing child actors, and I kind of wish they had just ditched the whole, Stephen King story and just rewrote it from scratch, using these child. It's like, you know what? Screw it. We're just gonna write a different story because we've got great talent.
And the funny thing is that that whiskey, that's actually Jim, that a friend of ours, he has that whiskey, and he had it here.
Creek.
Yeah, and I replaced it with apple juice. It's not real. But he just saw that in a video. I didn't tell him. He just saw they went,
I think he cried a little because that's that cheap whiskey.
No, it's very good whiskey too.
So should we do the drinking game along with you? We're already in May.
No, we won't survive.
Oh,
We will
that's
not
true.
make it. These weird little flashbacks.
The movie's shot kind of like a bad soap opera.
It is a bad soap opera.
Yeah, the adult scenes just play like you're watching a soap opera. And John, welcome back. This is the second film we've done with him, right?
Third, I think.
Yeah. It is a shame. But
Sidekicks, Neverending Story 2, and this one. All the controversial ones keep popping up in my videos. I'm not doing it on purpose.
Hello, how are you? It's nice down here.
I'm British.
Red balloons.
Now, the one thing I have to say that...
yes. The orgasm.
Look at his lip. Look at his lip. One side of his lips are working.
I just don't get how we're supposed to take it seriously, and so many people were terrified. And I understand if you have a fear of clowns, that's totally legit.
Yeah, we got that, but
I never had a fear of clowns except for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is the most terrifying horror movie ever made.
Well, obviously, none of us can sleep because of that movie.
But yeah, so I didn't get it. I'm like, he's really funny. I love Tim Curry in this movie.
That's the one scary scene. I think I'd say that is the one scary scene. And that really got me. It got me as an adult, too. I just went, gee! So that was good. But something I do have to bring up that I feel was a mistake. Actually, everything I say about Stephen King in here, I still sort of hold up to, despite what, Stephen King fans, want to kill us and stuff. But I mean, the one thing where I think I did screw up is that I say it's a supernatural element that will not be explained. Actually, if anything, Stephen King over-explains the supernatural element, because they are right.
You could argue the movies.
The movies do it worse.
But the books, I mean...
The books actually go into way too much detail.
King is the first to different stories. Yeah, Stephen King's the first to admit that he's like, I wrote myself into a corner. It's like, what do I do? A giant spider? And it's tied. It's basically tied to the rest of his mythos, which is basically sort of a quasi Cthulhu thing. It just gets nutty. I was kind of like, you know what? You were probably just okay with the killer clown.
Yeah. No, actually, I mean, in a story like this, I don't think it needs to be fully explained. Just maybe a hint. And in the movie anyway, it's very unsatisfactory. I did read the book when I was younger, but I don't have the best knowledge of it. But I do remember, the girl was pretty much a whore. No, she had to sleep with everybody to get rid of the memories. I don't know. I can't remember how it worked, but she's
It's really ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
She's a total sleep around.
It's if you like the book, fine, but if you read it, it's kind of goofy. And people like to tell us oh, you have to read the book. Oh, the book made sense. I did. that didn't make the book any good. It's like, yeah, the book is better than the movie, but the book was really goofy too. People are like, well, they left this out. They left out the reason why she has to have sex with everybody. And I'm like,
yeah,
you know
say
what?
that
I think,
again.
yeah, say that again with a straight face. They had to leave out the reason why she's sleeping with all the other boys. I'm like, yeah, okay.
What I usually find about Stephen King books is that I enjoy them while I'm reading them, and then after I'm done, I go, wow, wait a minute. And I start adding things up. I'm like, that was a weird friggin' story. Hey, wait a minute, I didn't like this. And so I think the pros are very good. That they're written well in that, you have a story and it's told well, but the story itself is not that good usually, with exceptions.
I think my problem with Stephen King is I don't find his supernatural stories scary. If you do, that's cool. I'm not, that's fine, but, it's different strokes for different folks, and none of his supernatural stories scare me that much. The Shining, the book, sorry, I like the Kubrick film a lot better. Like, the book really didn't scare me at all, and a lot of his best books that I like have little supernatural elements in it. You go a lot of the short stories and stuff. You Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, Dolores Claiborne. A lot of the ones I like really are not like about.
Yeah, we should list the ones.
And goblins.
We should list the ones we actually do like, or else people are gonna kill us again. Well, what we say? Yeah, I never read Green Mile, but you say it's good. Gerald's Game was very good. Dolores Claiborne. Misery is unbelievably good.
Misery's great. Well,
yeah.
that one, that's like our worst nightmare. Yeah. We're gonna run into a crazy fan. What did you say about Stephen? Actually, we lived that. That was the Stephen King review. Like, all of a sudden, the Kathy Bates people came out of the woodwork. You didn't like Stephen King.
Oh, you needed that joke, yeah.
I think that was one of mine. But I don't know, I've always said that Stephen King doesn't scare me, but his fans, on the other hand...
His fans can be very scary.
They're very defensive. That's all I can say. And I get it, because Stephen King gets picked on a lot, but, you gotta have a sense of humor about it. Stephen King is the first to admit that, like, yeah, he's not Shakespeare.
Stephen King, by the way, if you ever hear him at interviews and stuff, he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, that's what kills me. It's just like all of his fans get so uptight, but like he'll be the first to say, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I was on crack when I wrote this book. And yeah, this man's like, oh, you can't say that. It's a masterpiece. I was like, he has a sense of humor about his work. Come on.
And I like the idea of this drinking game, too. I thought this,
well,
how can you do something a little different? Because you always have to find ways. There's a little bionic woman sound effect. I don't know if people got that. But there's only so many ways you can react to something. And getting drunk, I'm like, I haven't gotten drunk yet. That'd be fun.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Well, that's because you're drinking right now.
That's right.
You're like this guy.
That's because
a redneck alcoholic in a Stephen King movie.
Well, talking about the drinking game. Yeah, like some people tried to catch us on like little things. They're like, oh well, in this story, his Christian allegories were so huge and were so pro-Christian that doesn't count. I was like, yeah, that doesn't take away the obvious anti-Christian allegories in other things he's written. Just because he's got a positive side on one hand, that doesn't mean that he didn't have a negative side on the other. So it still counts. One way or another, it's still kind of sloppy.
And I have to admit, if that was for alcohol, you would not see its billing as much. I'd be much more cautious about it, because that's my baby.
Oh, you know what? I said allegories. I meant stereotypes. Because somebody will know. There's a Stephen King fan out there. It's like, yeah, wrong literary term!
Probably looks like Seth Green there. Does that kid being a Boy Scout ever come back in the movie? I just realized it's never really referenced after that. It's just, he's a Boy Scout. If it is a Boy Scout, I think
let's go find a dead body.
And they build dam. I think I said that. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, are they building a dam? Why? And you're like, because it's fucking Maine. What else you gonna do? It's fucking Maine.
We actually used to live in New England, and Maine has this bit of a reputation, much like Illinois thinks of Wisconsin. And yeah, that's kind of something. It was like, why are they building dams? Because it's Maine.
I think.
But I have nothing personally against Maine, so just letting you know.
I don't play that many drinking games. I never have. I think I played one drinking game. It was the Red Dwarf drinking game that we made up, and it was whenever Crichton explained something scientific. And
you got tanked.
Yeah, I don't think we got through one episode. I threw it all up, man. It was nasty.
He passed out, and I was like, well, this is great because I was the only one still awake.
I think, yeah, it was like one episode. I'm like, oh my god, you never realize how much Crichton explains sciencey stuff, like, all the time.
I ended up playing, like, SimCity, like, 2000 and Minesweeper, like, on, like, your girlfriend's computer or something.
Oh, the overbearing parent, again, I haven't seen that.
The overbearing mother. If she were a crazy Christian, she would have been straight out of Carrie, but, you know, we've switched it up a little at least, hooray.
It is one of those. This review actually was a little longer. There's about 3 or 4 jokes I took out.
Well, it's a Stephen King book. It's longer than the Bible to begin with.
It's already so long. I think this is the longest review, and I just couldn't believe how long it was when I looked it over. But at the same time, it goes really fast. It's something about the drinking game and the jokes and the fast pace of it. It seems to fly by pretty quick.
The people were torn on that. Some liked the drinking game. Some thought it was just you doing hammy acting. And I'm like, well, what else is?
Yeah,
what else?
Come on. Do you watch The Site? Yeah. Why does this kid just leave?
Yeah. If that happened to me, this is like, pull a Dana Barrett. You see the dog in the fridge and it says, you run away. Yeah. You scream and you run and you call Ghostbusters.
I think there's...
Look at this.
Even when I was a kid, I was like, really? Did they really just do that stop motion? That's the effect you did?
Yeah, that's like freaking Large Marge going on there.
When I, when I was watching it, there is one scene where, like, he tries to leave, and I think they try to make it look like the poles or the showers are blocking him, but there's so obviously this huge space where you can walk out. It's like all he has to do is climb under it.
Really, I think the only 2 scenes that I thought he was scary. I thought the intro was well done because he's kind of in the sewer. You can't see much of him, And then I think there was some scene where he's digging everybody's graves. It was sort of a creepy image, but yeah, there's very little.
This worked out pretty well.
Yeah. How'd you like to wake up to that in the morning? All right, how's it going?
I don't know. We're watching this on the AVI. I don't know on the FLV on the site. Maybe there's like one frame in there you see of the clown in the middle. It's like, damn it, I hate it when those get in. But I don't think I ever made a Nightcore joke.
You didn't? No, I had one Nightcore joke at the end. We did the lines where I said I've got the script ready for you when I knock on the door. And,
that's right.
The alternate take was I was like, hey, Doug, do you think I look like that asshole from It? The one who also played the judge in Night Court?
No, actually,
I had like the fedora, and I was like, I kind of look like him with the vest and the fedora.
Actually, I wanted to use that. I think the sound or something got cut on part of the line or something like that, so I couldn't.
Yeah, a lot of people complained. It was like, what, no Night Court jokes? I was like, well, we did have that one line, but it got cut.
I love Tim Curry in this. I really do.
You know what? He's like Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. It's just like
he's the heart.
He's the 80-ton gorilla in the room. It's like you have no clue what he's gonna do. You just know it's gonna be goofy and entertaining. Like, that's the thing. I found him immensely entertaining. People are just like, how could you not like him? It's like, no, I loved him, but he wasn't scary. He was hilarious.
I've made like a bajillion Fresh Prince jokes, like in terms of the song.
That's because it is one of the greatest shows ever made.
Well, you know what? The show is awesome. The song is like a bajillion levels of awesome. I just love using it. I think people always, people never get tired of it.
Doug. They were making trouble in the neighborhood.
He got one little fight. His mom got scared. Remember, she's like, "You're not going down in Bel Air." Oh, God! It just reminded me of the commercial. The commercial episode came a few episodes after this. Just like, what if this was the summer of Apple Jacks?
Oh yeah.
Not, oh my God, a clown, a fucking clown.
I'll never watch an Apple Jacks commercial the same way again. Oh my God, a clown, a fucking clown. Dear God, don't forget the fucking clown. Hey, he's just having so much fun. Look at him. He's adorable. How can you be scared by that? You know what? I would invite him to my nephew's birthday party. My cousin's probably going to hear this, and I'll never be invited ever over again.
He's coming to your bachelor party. I want you to know. It's like Kid Schmitz. He should be at adult parties. That'd be a ton of fun.
This is fun.
Yeah, this really worked out surprisingly well.
I think this made me realize I think Stephen King's It would have been a much better comedy.
Work in as many jokes as you can just with movies these people have been in.
But yeah, what killed me is I felt such camaraderie amongst the kids in this movie. I never got that really out of the adults. And maybe it's because kids get along better. They're all kids. They're having fun. They're on a movie set. I don't know. But the adults, they read their lines. They're okay.
No.
But
you know what it is?
didn't feel
No,
anything.
I just realized what it is. When they're kids, they have to be serious because they're the losers. They're the outcasts, and they're constantly being picked on. When they're adults, they're like, their lives are normal now. Everything is happy, and they're a lot of the time they're supposed to be portrayed that way. Like everything's fine.
Great, of course, except for the fact, the clown, the fucking clown, the motherfucking clown.
Well, no,
dear
yeah,
God,
the
don't
clown
forget
comes
the
back,
clown.
but how do you always see him? You see them for 2 seconds, everything's great, and then when you say something's wrong, you go to flashback. It's like, and when they're happy, they're not very good when doing happy. Like when that one guy's doing his stand-up routine, like, before they find out the best friend is dead. I mean, it's terrible. It's bad.
It was. To get that audience, look at me.
Do I make a Happy Days joke? I can't remember. I don't think I do. And like I talked about this before, I hate cardboard cutout bullies in movies.
Oh, and
shows,
this one's
they're just
chock full of
so
them.
boring. And it's such a pain we have to watch because they're gonna get their comeuppance.
Well, then there's bullies, and then there's like Stephen King's. I don't know who terrorized King as a kid, but man, does he take it out. Like, I mean, this is like beyond bullies. This is just a psychotic killer. Yeah. Like, and he's like that in the book. It's like that. I'm just like, wow, you really, man. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to you, but
thank God he writes because we don't want to know what else he'd be doing if he wasn't. Or how many people get the Lucy, right? They have to get the Lucy reference. They're even like 2-year-olds get the Lucy reference, I think. Yeah, here's where it gets like really slurry, and I was concerned because we're not even halfway through the actual movie yet, and I realized I'm doing the slurring and the blah blah blah.
It's like, Jarrell.
This movie will explode in 5 days.
Contained within is all my knowledge of the universe.
Now, here's something a lot of a lot of fans tell me. They say that, well, the reason he wanted to scare the kids is because they taste so much better when they're
it's
afraid.
like salt. Yeah.
Well, first of all, he didn't. With the brother, he ate him pretty fast, and plus, you're a fucking killer clown. You go boo, munch. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know what, and that was always my problem in the book, too. It's just like, you know what, food is food. If these guys really are getting so smart that they may be a threat to you, just eat them. Who cares if you add salt to it? It's still food.
Now, the thing that sucks is on the DVD, she does her little, she does her little yell, but then originally it cuts back to the it sign, and it says a little to be continued at the bottom. You hear Tim Curry go, wah! And it was great, but it's not on the DVD, and I miss it. I miss his little laugh at it.
This is like... she deserves an award for that.
Yeah, he really took the time. Like, you know what? She's gonna be sad. This will calm her down.
Yeah, this will explain everything. He's gonna write it.
I forget. And there's a whole scene where like they reminisce, but I mean, it's like they go riding on a bike and play catch together and stuff. It's really silly.
I love it. He's like, so you're a bachelor? Apparently running around talking about killer clowns and serial killers in this city doesn't get you laid.
Hey, Seth Green doesn't look like that. I love that a lot of these adults don't look like how the kids looked like at all. You really can't see them growing up, to look like these people.
And so much of it was based on balloons, which not scary.
Not scary.
I'm sorry.
Hey, balloon takes my life at the end. There's that. People love that move, and I just kept playing it over and over and over. I mean, like I said, obviously this is stretched out, but this is pretty much just what he's doing. This guy's trying to talk, and he just keeps twirling that thing around. Oh, look at that. He just keeps doing that.
That was our joke. It's like he just kept doing this shtick, going, well... keep rolling. He's like, I don't have to work today. I can do whatever the hell I want because I'm Tim Curry.
That's the one people love. What's he even doing?
really, like, he's more of just a nuisance than a threat.
I'd just be annoyed. And then I probably really start laughing. He's a good clown.
I'd just, like, walk up to him and slap him in the face and be like, you know what? Just go the fuck away. Will you? Please?
You know, I take it back. There was one scene that was a little creepy. I didn't include it just for time, but she goes in and, like, I think she's talking to this old woman or something. She starts to, like, melt and peel. And it's like, and their eyes sort of disappear. That was actually a little creepy. That was a little creepy.
I saw Poltergeist, and they did it there only years before, so.
And there's, like, a solid 5 minutes of just the camera spinning around this fucking table.
Oh, God. Oh, this was when he appears in the moon. I'm like, pause it, Doug, because I just burst out laughing. I'm like, this is just so goofy.
People.
Look at
You're
that.
afraid of that.
Look at that. You know what? Face your fears, people who were scared by this movie. It's Tim Curry in white makeup in the moon. This is freaking Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, now it is. That was so hard to do because the camera moves on that shot. You had to sort of keep it steady.
This is like the Evil Dead. This is like Evil Dead 2 here. I mean, this is just silly.
God, so much stuff happens in this fucking movie. It's so long.
Oh, did we do the Jeffrey Dahmer line?
Oh, yeah.
I said that line out loud, and Doug started writing it down. I'm like, no, we can't. Are you serious? And he's like, no, I'm doing it.
I forget if I say stand-up or dinner theater.
I said it was like bad dinner theater at Jeffrey Dahmer's house.
Now, you notice why I held my fingers up with holding up 3 fingers. I do it, was that the German way or whatever, where it's the thumb and the 2 fingers. So a lot of times when I do it, my thumb is covered and people are like, oh, you held up 2 fingers. It's like, no, it was 3. It's just
the German way? What is it, a Inglourious Bastards reference?
Yeah, that's actually how I found out. The Germans do it that way. I'm like, oh, well.
You would have gotten shot by the Nazis.
I love that. That's a great. And I actually, if you notice, the 2 characters in the background, you have it and you have the Wolfman and the Mummy who appear in this movie.
As a story, it's a series of a lot of times interesting ideas that just don't gel together.
Yeah, no,
like,
there's a good story.
There are great ideas in here. Like, and then but it never quite gelled together. Like, Killer Clown, interesting, using fear, it's like Forbidden Planet. It's like, okay, that's interesting. But it never quite meshes together. It's like Stephen King was kind of like wanted to throw every single thing into one book. And
I have to admit, I like Stephen King the most when there's the least going on.
Yeah, when there's simpler stories.
And there is a thing, I can't remember if I referenced it, but there is a thing where they lose their memory as they leave the town. Because, again, there's this weird thing with the town. The town is just bad, I guess. And
well, they never.
I'm sure in the book,
explain it in the.
You know, when they go back to Middle Earth or whatever it is, his mythology.
You know, but even in the book, you have to read other Stephen King books to get the full story behind what Pennywise is, and I'm just like. You know, how do you fit all that in one movie? Like,
well, especially it's like, you look at it, it's like it's about a killer clown that terrorizes children. Okay, the killer clown is supernatural. Okay, well, the killer clown that changed into other things. All right, the killer clown is this ancient spider from years ago, and it's this long. It's like, okay, just keep it simple.
Came to this planet on an asteroid, and it's like, no, Critic, you have to read this book and then 5 other books to get the whole. And each one is 1,800 pages long, and no, we have lives.
I don't want. He has the Dark Tower for that. Actually,
well, a lot of it goes anyway.
With those balloons. I tried one with just a balloon, and then one with the eyes, and by far the eyes were creepier. But just having the balloon itself was surprisingly kind of scary. It's like, you actually can make a balloon a little scary.
It's the Mr. Flibble shot from Red Dwarf.
Yeah. Look out! Actually, I never thought of that. You're right.
That's exactly where it came from.
I don't get what the upset. Everybody's like, well, no, it's that bodies float. Well, yeah, I get that, but why mention it over and over? Why is that scary?
You know what? Everybody needs a tagline. It's his MO, his signature. Yeah, and look at, really, like, come on. I understand if you're, 7 years old and you watch this film and it's terrifying. Like, believe me, I get that. But, like, as an adult and people, like, freaked out, I was like, no, it was scary. I was like, watch it again. As an adult, it does not really hold up as well. You just had
Unless you're afraid of clowns. That's the only thing.
Well,
it's
yeah,
like, I'll
if
buy
you're
that.
Afraid of clowns, sure. But if you're not afraid of clowns, I mean, you just had a dog in a clown suit attacking an orderly. Like, what? Look at that.
And it's slow. That reminds me of the shot from Mortal Kombat 2 where the guy changes into a wolf and they can't show the wolf, so they just show the... In fact, they probably got it from this movie. They probably got that shot from here. Oh, yeah. and this is how she knows. And again, actually, I bet you anything, in the book, this is probably better explained.
In the book, it does make more sense, but they did not translate any of this. But in the book, it makes sense in that he explains it, but I didn't think it was really all that, interesting.
No, it's like just tell a movie just about that, just about the town and how bad it is, then tell a story about a killer clown, then tell a story about this ancient giant killer spider, then it's like, just split it up. You don't have to throw them all in there.
It's almost like a Mad Libs. This is like, there's a killer clown and 6 kids and...
I think that was Rockadoodle, actually.
Yeah.
Or is that so mean, like, I find myself using
Well, but no, it's a very good point, because that's a problem that a lot of the bad films we review have, which is it feels like a Mad Libs. There's like too much stuff going on. Like, the screenwriters just could not, or the original writer, could not figure out, and we're going to get it for that, but could not figure out how to just put all of these disparate elements together, or maybe they shouldn't have been put together. Maybe you just could have simplified the story.
What was the one? This I didn't know
But some
about.
people like killer clowns who are really giant spiders from outer space, and girls who, in order to maintain their psychic connection, have to have sex with a bunch of prepubescent boys. And
Sign me up!
Yeah, some people just... That's what they
now,
want,
what was the one? I think you were telling me that you or Jim or somebody was telling me that... Was it like the holy black man, or the black man that...
Oh no! People who try to claim is like, oh, Stephen King doesn't rely on cliches. I'm like, the man single-handedly invented the trope that's called the magic Negro. I'm not making this up. That's literally what's known. You go to TV tropes and like, really Stephen King played a huge part in that. So think about the Green Mile, think about Shawshank Redemption. God's sakes, it created Morgan Freeman's career, and he's the poster child for it.
It's like, was it like the wise,
the
nice
wise,
black man
all-knowing black man who has all the answers and helps the white guy out.
But now it's turning Hispanic. I saw Devil. I saw Paranormal Activity 2. It's Hispanic. Although that's supernatural. Well, yeah, it is Stephen King. I love that. Wake up. Take a breath. You smell that? It's death. Now, to that guy's credit, how can you say that line and make it sound credible? You can't. That's a horribly written line.
It's death. Oh, look at
that cave!
This is a Star Trek. Like, this is an original series Star Trek set. You're not even looking at Next Gen here. There should be lizard men walking around and a shirtless
No, you know
Captain
what it is?
Kirk.
Yeah, it's like, it starts out as a scary clown movie and then just turns into a Star Trek episode, yeah.
Or a freaking Mystery Science Theater 3000. Look at that.
Now, let me tell you, even when I was a kid, because I saw this movie when I was a kid, it didn't really scare me, but I was with it up until that point. And by the way, this is the last time I used the original Nostalgia Critic Suko. It was because it got wet, I got the fake blood on it, I got ulcer, and it was falling apart. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the last time I use it. Look at those eyes! Look at those eyes! Oh, and of course, you gotta bring back spiders.
Oh, Dr. Smith. We've had way too much fun with that dumb movie.
Well, it's funny because this Dr. Smith... Oh, wait. Yeah, he does come up in the Lost in... No, Spiders doesn't come up in Lost in Space. Because he actually does have a line. He's like, a giant legion of spiders. No, a monster race of spiders. And we change it to Giant League.
I give Stephen King this, and I give the movie this as well. Now, this may be why it translated best in the movie. He's really good at writing friendships. Like, you get the camaraderie amongst this crew, this group of kids. and it comes through the film, and I think you've got like that is the essence of the story. It's all the weird things around it that kind of don't work. It's like the heart is really there, and it's a shame that like there's just a giant alien spider and.
That's really good, actually. That's actually a very good point. The friendship always works. The conflict is usually where it gets annoying.
Because I really was enjoying the first part of the film, and I was like, it's
I was too.
If you remove a lot of the stranger supernatural elements of it, it's actually a really good story.
And stuff like the bullies, and like I said, that gets pretty old. But actually, I was getting into that too. I found. Oh, yeah, and what's the point of this? Oh no, she's a zombie and now she's back. Okay. What she have 5 lines? She's gonna be okay, folks. 5 lines.
That's another. That's a translation problem when you have characters that show up for all of 5 lines. It's like, oh, this meant something. If we didn't have to cut like 100 scenes.
Why did riding down the hill snap her out?
Hey, at least it's better than the Langoliers. Are we the new people?
You will see the review, people, because that'd be a fun one.
Hey, that had a psychotic Balky ripping newspapers for 40 minutes. That movie's awesome.
We can do with that. That's gonna be fun, and that's also as ass-numbingly long
Cousin
as
Larry, the Langoliers will get you.
Go ahead, your stellar performance is coming up.
Oh, God. Somebody was just like, I think the Razzie for the year should go to Rob Walker. I'm like, thank you. I'll gladly accept that.
He tried really hard at that performance.
He
tried to get in character. He tried to believe he had boobs. That he was a woman.
I did. Actually had breast augmentation surgery.
Yeah, he went to a lot of trouble, and you insignificant bastards. Ass fuck shit whores.
Well, I wasn't going to go that far, but...
I will.
Yeah, okay, so this is where the line was. It was like, hey, Critic, do you think I look like that asshole from It? The one who's always cracking jokes on Night Court?
Yeah, I pretty much just said, just make every weird... You don't usually have a chance to make your weird face. You got some good weird faces.
Well, my original one was just a carbon copy of her, and then you're just like, no, make stranger faces. So I started off with the quivering lips and then just did God knows what.
Yeah, it starts off with her. Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
that's her. Yeah, that's her. And then it just goes. What? Yeah. I don't even know what that is. I have no clue what any of this is.
And by the way, that is ketchup. If you can't tell, I did have fake blood, but it didn't work as well. it didn't stick as well.
So yeah, no, you have not convinced us that it is any better. Sorry. I give Stephen King props. There's some great stories he's written, and there are great parts in it. But yeah,
Tim Curry is awesome though.